Welcome, 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 everyone, to Adventures into Reality. I am Andrew Bartzis, joined by my intrepid international co-host, Kathy Ma.
It is great to be here yet again. I do love this show so much. I look forward to Mondays, which these days, as you get older, usually you resent Mondays coming up. But, I really, every Sunday night thinking, oh, it's Monday tomorrow, showtime.
That's right. Showtime, showtime, showtime. And yesterday we had an incredible show on charting your course, talking all about dreams.
Yes, that was really amazing. And if you want to catch us on Charting Your Course, it's on Studio B at 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We really had some very interesting things to discuss and talking about from childhood to adulthood, dreams, lucid dreams, waking up, going right back into your dreams, out-of-body dreams, deja vu, global dream time. I mean, we talked about it all.
It was the dream show to encompass all dreams. Not really, but we had to think of something big there.
Yeah. I like it, though. Well, I guess to find out that, you'd have to listen to the show.
Which you can go to our YouTube channel, Galactic Historian, or you just type in my name, Andrew Bartzis, inside YouTube, and you will come to our channel where you'll have all the videos that are audios that are uploaded, and you can also see a lot of the other videos that we've got going up.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. Definitely go and check it out.
So, Kathy, we are going to turn on the Wheel of Colors.
Wheel is going. Tick-tock, tick-tock.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. Let that wheel spin and see what comes to us today.
Ooh.
There we go. 305. Your name and where you're calling from.
Ooh, 305. Unmute. Are you muted?
305. Wheel of Color has drawn your number.
Oh no, 305. It's not your day. Monday maybe isn't your day today.
305 going once. 305 going twice. All right. We have the next person is not there either.
Well, in those case, for those of you who don't know, Andrew is offering a free video series called Living the Mystical Life Daily. He shows you some tools and gives you knowledge about how to have mystical experiences in your everyday life. So sign up for free at andrewbartzis.com. Just put your name and email when you get to the page and you'll receive the first video right away. Again, just get it at andrewbartzis.com and enter your name and email to receive the Living the Mystical Life Daily series.
I believe we have our first caller. Jody, are you there? Jody, are you there? Via Skype. Unmute.
Yes. Hello.
Welcome to the show, Jody. How are you doing today?
Oh my goodness, marvelous. Thank you.
How did you find out about us?
My good friend told me about your Galactic history videos, so I watched all of those this past a couple months ago. I'm so nervous. I'm so excited to be on. Oh.
Well, welcome to the show. What kind of questions do you want to ask?
I would love to know my Galactic history, and I guess just some, life direction, advice, or anything from you guys.
So what was it about the material that's connected to you?
Oh, everything. This world is really crazy, and sometimes I feel so disconnected and cynical and frustrated with the current political world, and I guess the matrix that we live in is what I see. And
I call that the global infrastructure of distraction.
Yeah.
It is just there to be an infrastructure to occupy our time, our place, our consciousness, so that we are lured away from seeing the bigger things that are going on within our own little bubble of reality.
Yeah.
So what year were you born?
1986.
1986. And let me tune into you. All right. So your first lifetime before this frame of Jody, let's see, 200. So you spent a long, long ass time inside the astral world before you came back. So
Huh.
1818 was the last time you were actually living in a body. So that's 150, almost 140 years. Now,
Wow.
what you were doing there is unusual. You were setting something up, some kind of big spiritual framework, and you were acting as a guide and a guardian to other members in a lineage. And this lineage came to an end in 1860, 1861. Everything in the lineage ceased to be, everything collapsed with inside it. And this caused a gigantic harm to you. You were intending to incarnate and reincarnate with this soul family. The entire lineage passed down. Their world was fell apart, destroyed,
Oh
and
wow.
this is a bigger part of the story that is you. When you first arrived at Earth, you were a refugee from another world that was going through its own forms of destruction by its own people, its own form of self-destruction. Similar to here in our world, we are slowly destroying our world.
Hmm.
In your expression, the world was brought to a rapid end, and then you were brought here because you were still fifth density beings at that time. And it greatly harmed you until eventually you were adopted here at Earth. And the big part of your galactic history is going out to other worlds and discovering places that are in their final throes of destruction, rescuing the people that were there and bringing them back and seeding them on other worlds so that they had a place to live, that they too wouldn't be refugees like you were.
Wow.
So you're one of those people that rides the ambulances in the spiritual
Whoa.
format. You go out there, put the person in the ambulance, take them back to a hospital, get them triaged, find a house, and say, "Here's some food. I'm going to go start rescuing more and more and more people." And this is very relevant all throughout your past life expressions. You're doing this, though you have a variety of other lives where you're entangled in politics, military, war, science, and all that stuff. But those lifetimes are really inconsequential to what you were doing at about 9,000 BC. This is the lifetime that defines why you are this lifetime Jody born doing what you're doing. That is the lifetime where you gave up all of the technology that the Atlanteans were using and basically walked into the woods and gave up civilization and began unevolving your consciousness and reconnecting it into mm, the magic of this planet. And it was a recapitulation of your soul's purpose to make sure that the people on this world would be taken care of.
Wow. Wow.
That's you in a nutshell.
That's amazing.
Do
Thank you.
you have any specific questions you want to ask about that?
Um, I guess I mean I always want to help people in this lifetime and I always want to change the world. So that makes sense with my past. I guess questions I need to let that sink in kind of. What would you have any advice for me for this lifetime based on my past
I want to bring
selves?
Kathy in here real quick. So I
Okay.
hear a little baby in the background too.
Yes, a little Aurora, my
Little
daughter.
Aurora. How old is she?
Beautiful name.
She is a little over 8 months now.
Oh, she's still fresh.
Yeah.
She's still half in the dream world.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's a
So
wonderful baby.
Kathy's going to come in here and give you her perspective, and then I'm going to add something to that so that you can have an understanding of what's really going on in the motivational field that's around you, more than just the child and being the mother.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Now, Jody,
Hi, Kathy.
where are you located at the moment?
Boulder, Colorado.
Colorado. Have you been there a long time?
Like 7 years, I think now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm from Massachusetts.
Okay. When I look at your energy and what's going on for you, I'd say that things have been a bit hectic for you. But I suppose if you have
Yeah.
a 8-month-old baby,
Yeah.
I guess it's a no-brainer that would be the case.
Mhm.
One thing I'd like to talk about is Aurora. I look at her energy, and she's just such a wonderful little being.
Yeah.
You will find that she is a bit rambunctious at the beginning,
Mhm.
a bit
Okay.
boisterous, more than normal. And everyone's going to say, oh, which side of the family did that come from, blah blah blah. But what I'd say is, she's just got so much to say, and she's also a little cheeky. She's going to have an incredible personality, very funny, cheeky. So that all goes hand in hand with rambunctious, boisterous.
Yeah.
She agrees.
Yeah, right. She's very talkative already.
I'm not surprised because she's got a lot to say. One of the things I would like to highlight for her is that you're going to find that she is super smart, really, really smart. Early on, you're going to realize that her intelligence is way beyond her years. So you may have to consider what you want to do with that. She probably wouldn't suit going, jumping a class, because on
Okay.
the social side, it would probably be more beneficial for her to stay in her own age group. But if you want to do extra study or extracurricular later, I would totally support that, because her brain is just so inquisitive that you couldn't possibly maintain her interest all the time. And if you don't give her more stuff that is more difficult for her to look at and to understand, you might find that she gets too bored in class with work, and therefore doesn't appear to be concentrating and might be a little bit a handful in class
Okay.
time. But just trust in that it's not a behavioral problem. It's just
Yes.
intelligence. She would look at this class and think, writing? Are you kidding me? I read the book. In fact, there's a
Oh,
typo
that's
there.
wonderful. Okay.
But that's it's going to be a challenge, because whenever you have a child like this, a lot of people make you question yourself and make you question what you're doing and the way you're bringing up the child and your
Oh,
own
goodness.
ideology. So
Okay.
you need to be more immune to what they say. I would
Okay.
master the nodding with the smile.
Okay.
I will think about how to do that and incorporate it one day.
Thank you, because I can be very sensitive.
Yeah, like, what are you
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
I'll pick you in the nose. You don't
Yeah.
understand. So stupid. It is going to be a challenge for you with other people's opinion. So as long as you're very clear in your mind how this is going to develop, and you can expect people to give you all these opinions that you have absolutely no interest in, you can master the way to deal with them, and then your life will be much easier in her formative years.
Okay.
And this goes for teachers too. If they tell you that she's not concentrating, not focusing, same thing. They don't understand that they're boring and the
Okay.
stuff is too basic.
Okay.
So again, nod, and then look for some smarty classes outside of the school.
Okay. I was leaning more towards homeschooling anyways, or like a different type of curriculum.
I think homeschooling would be more difficult for her at the beginning,
Yeah.
because she's so chatty.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you're considering homeschooling as a necessity, maybe do the first few years in a mainstream, just so that she can get that energy out, make some friends.
Okay.
Because, throughout her life, she's always going to have tons of friends. So learning those skills on how to make friends, and those, nuances that you get from mixing with people would be very helpful to her later in her life.
Okay.
And you will also find that she is good at sports, but she's not into them.
Oh, okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
So at the same
Cool.
time, I'd say, it's a challenge when you're trying to get them outside.
Uh-huh.
But if you do classes outside of school, perhaps like free movement, not
Okay.
necessarily so regimented as ballet, but there's dancing, movement, things that might involve gymnastic type movement, but not gymnastics. You will find you have more luck with her enjoying those kind of activities or sports.
Okay.
But it's going to be a shame in that, you can see she's very good at it, but she just is. It's boring, you know.
Okay.
She's smart enough to know. You know what? If I keep doing this, I'm gonna get injured. So it's not for
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Okay, and so let's go back to you. When I look
Okay.
at what's going on for you, apart from the chaos of a new baby, I think that you really need to start thinking about what it is you would like to do with yourself. Of course, you're
Yeah.
very busy with the baby and everything.
Hmm.
But to me, it's like before this, you sort of a little bit lack direction, and
Yeah.
not because you weren't trying, but it's
Hmm.
more that, you know, nothing's really grabbed you, nothing's really interested you.
Hmm.
Um, and so you're on that eternal search for things like this. What I can say for you is that at the moment you will find that there's not a lot that's going to interest you so much. Um, how can I put this? You should focus more on what is pleasurable for you as opposed to what you can do with something later on in life. Let's say
Okay.
for the next 12 months, think about more that it's like a evolving you in your own creative side, your own relaxing side, your own fun side. And then later on, we can look more at the career and development. Because at this stage in your life and looking at your energy, this is what you need for you to be more complete.
Okay.
Was the birth a difficult birth?
Yes. Um,
Sorry, go on.
it was just I was in labor for like 3 days, and
3 days. Ugh.
yeah, it was like early labor, but it was still really intense. And we were gonna do a home birth, and my cervix was caught on one side of her head, and we eventually went into the hospital, and I got an epidural, and I was
Mhm.
able to push her out naturally still, but it was, yeah, I was
Yeah, that's
exhausted.
very traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already sweating thinking about it. The minute you said 3 days, I broke out in sweat. um, you know, one thing you need to consider is that you probably have a mild, subtle form of um, postpartum sort of thing going on. Did you find that you are a little bit erratic in the way you're thinking or emotions since the birth?
I guess, yeah.
Um,
More like
yeah,
not terribly, but a little bit.
like it's one of those things that sometimes you just need to recognize it.
Okay.
Give yourself a break. You
Okay.
know, I don't think it's a severe case that you need to really worry about it or seek help about it. But just know that sometimes you're just not, let's say, tip-top form when it comes to those parts of you.
Okay.
So if you do fly off the handle a bit or suddenly get all teary over nothing,
Uh-huh.
you know, just like, okay, you know what, this is just post-baby stuff.
Okay.
And say to people, this is post-baby stuff. I don't mean to do this. Maybe you can walk away, or just give me that space.
Okay.
Because people are much more understanding. If you just say it, they're like, oh, okay, because they
Okay.
just don't, they won't notice you have anything like that because you're very good at covering,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
masking. Um, uh, you also probably need to think about, you may have some torn muscles in your body from all those contractions.
Okay.
Did they ever mention anything like that to you? That's a possibility?
No.
Okay. Well, you had a lot of trauma that's going on in there. And so, again, think about what your body's been through in a more friendly, pro-you way. Again, give
Okay.
yourself a break. Don't expect your healing recovery to be as quick as most people. It's going to take a bit longer. And
Okay.
when you think about, doing exercises, do things that are gentle, because remember, your body needs to heal. If you can compare yourself to other women, you need, like, let's say 3 times as long to heal everything inside than the average woman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's
Okay.
just let yourself have that space. Let yourself have that freedom.
Okay.
Pamper yourself a little bit. If you're feeling a bit, then go and have the luxury bath. Go and have the pedicure, the leg massage. Things like this, because the more your body can relax, the more it will heal itself in a
Okay.
slightly faster pace.
I've been going to yoga like once or twice a week.
Good, good.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And I would even go up to the instructor and just say, you know what, I think I might have torn a few things inside, you know. So can you just keep that in mind when you strike the poses? If there's a pose that you think might be too intense for me, I could do a different pose. Or
okay.
do you have any poses that you could teach me just to do on my own at home that would be helpful?
Okay.
Because yoga teachers are fabulous like this. They love, you know, special cases. They love doing things for special cases, and they like seeing your progress, and they like checking in. So this is a very good way to get some extra help while you're still getting fit.
Wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. And to
So
me,
you had a 3-day labor?
It is such a weird story. Like my husband had an emergency dental surgery he had to go to, and my contractions began that day. And of course, he he was like anesthesia, and I think because of that, my body, I was just like, wait, he needs to be here. So I froze up, and then when he got out, he needed to rest. And then labor was pretty much starting. So it was, I didn't sleep for 3 days, and active labor started Saturday, and she was born Sunday at 5 p.m., and it started Thursday night.
See, I've been looking at this, and it has created a variety of birth traumas within you and the child itself. And now
Oh,
these are
wow.
common, so don't
Uh-huh.
don't when you run on a pothole road, inevitably you're gonna bust a tire here or there, and that's the nature of childbirth.
Uh-huh.
I think it's just really important that during this healing and nurturing time with the child, that you too take time aside. The fact that the husband had a tooth coming out just before that, 99% of all teeth scenarios before a child coming out is literally the expungement of a negative energy.
Oh, wow.
So there was
Okay.
something that would have made the father very a difficult early father, but the significance of the tooth coming out is he's going to be a great father because the tooth came out
Wow.
quite literally. And I've seen this through dozens and dozens and dozens of my private sessions where people have extremely difficult births and like one parent can't be there for whatever reason it is. There's a variety of things that make up a set of spiritual contracts, and the set of spiritual contracts for you is if you're going to have this child, that tooth's got to come out.
Wow.
And what does that tooth represent? His old frequency of past lives that he was allowing to be his teachers. And now the child means he has a new set of spiritual teachers that are there. This also
Oh,
means you too have new spiritual teachers that are there.
wow.
It's the one the child brought in, Aurora is one of those special little bright lights out there, as are many, many, many of the children out there.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to need guidance. They're going to need love. They're going to need all those other things that the children want. I agree with what Kathy said, that in the beginning, don't worry about homeschooling. She absolutely needs to be around other children.
Okay.
Spatial recognition, artwork, music, those are the things you can see yourself doing whenever she's around. You point, you talk, you describe. It's not about learning and memorizing. It's not about the mechanical aptitudes that adults have. It's about the joy behind recognizing a flaw, a flower, a dog, or a cat.
Okay. I do that with her now, and she's already amazing. She's
Right.
gentle with her cat. Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's really important that you, because of the way the labor was, that you seek cranial sacral therapy. All right, hold on. When we'll come back
Okay.
after the break, I'll finish talking about this.
Okay.
And welcome back, everyone. Jody, are you there?
Yes. Hi.
So I was talking to you before about what's going on with the child. So I'm sorry, I lost my place there.
That's
So
okay.
she is being super, super talkative right now. And during the break, I was communicating with the higher spirit of this child.
Oh.
And some of the things that are going on with this individual child is she's going to have a series of issues with, I want to give this the right English, certain types of people. There are
Okay.
past lives that are going to come through immediately where she's going to be um, very standoffish against men that have mustaches.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you notice that just a mustache, not a
Yes.
goatee, just a mustache, she will not like them,
Yeah.
not like the people that are behind them. And this is kind of unusual for me to see a child that's this young and all of this stuff coming out. And it's
Wow.
because of her individuated purpose, which is to be a highly evolved being, whether it's through science or spirituality. That is yet determined yet, because the spiritual contracts that she's got are vast, gigantic, and to begin to describe them on just what one show wouldn't even begin to describe her individuated purpose. You know, you gave birth to this being who is going to make a difference for many other beings in the world.
Okay.
She is going to really, really, really need to know languages. Do you speak a second language, or do your
I
husband?
No, neither of us do. I know a little bit of Spanish, but it's really not. I'm not fluent at all.
I would go in to like a bookstore or one of those places that sells, a language course and start practicing it with her.
Okay.
German would be a highly beneficial trigger language for her that will pull out a lot of very positive energies to her.
Okay.
Alternatively, believe it or not, a British accent. There's something, she's even commenting on the British accent. There's something about the British accent to her that is comforting.
Okay.
So maybe TV shows that have the British accent people, or maybe British kids television shows. You can even find them on Sky TV or whatever.
Okay.
Kathy, is there anything you wanted to add about Aurora?
She's just such a wonderful energy. She really is. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think languages is a great idea because it will stimulate her mind. This is going to be the biggest challenge for you two as parents, to challenge her enough to stimulate her so that she isn't bored.
Okay.
I think one of the things that you also will find with her is that she loves colors. And I know most kids do love colors, but for her, it's almost like they're game changers. She has an incredible understanding of colors and the changes in moods it provides with people. She will have a great affinity with all colors that are blue, turquoise, that really wonderful green as well from the turquoise.
Those are my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But she will love them. For her, they're full of security, comfort, creativity. So any of those colors, you'll find that she's always more at home or settled down.
Okay.
You will also find that throughout her life, she will have at least probably 3 good friends that she keeps forever. One of them you might not really think is a good influence.
Okay.
But it'll be a boy. But, because he's a bit naughty, I should
say.
Okay. but she needs that outlet to show her mischievous side.
Okay.
I mean, she won't be led down the garden path, don't worry. But sometimes it's good for certain types of kids to do a few naughty things just to know what it's like, and then think, oh, well, no, that's way over my boundaries. Okay. But it's great for her because she will rely upon them throughout her life, as they will her. I mean, these days, it's very difficult to even keep one friend forever.
Yeah.
So having 3 would be a really a great balance for her.
Oh, wonderful.
And one of the things also highlighted for me is about finances.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you'll find that he actually has a bettering of circumstances later in this year. So that always means it's a promotion, a job shift, a job change, but it represents more power and money.
Okay.
He might not be so excited about it because of the responsibility, but the truth is he wouldn't have as much responsibility as he thinks. because whoever's above him likes to hoard all that power. So, in a way, he's not going to be as busy with it as he thinks he might. But it's a positive thing.
I think she agrees with you, Kathy.
Yeah. Yeah. Go for the money. Go for the money, Dad.
Exactly. Go for the money, Dad.
I'll be needing stuff.
I grow fast.
He's in school for computer programming, but he's a manager at a natural food store in town.
Well, something is coming up for him that is definitely is positive, definitely a bettering of circumstance. So it's good.
Okay.
It's good. And it will come quite easily. You know, it won't be he has to now scour the papers for it. Whatever his natural way to operate daily, that's all he needs to do. If you don't even tell him, it would come up. Yeah. So, yeah, don't panic that he might miss it.
Okay. Great.
All right, Jody, we got to move on to the next caller, and I want to reiterate languages. She is going to be a master communicator and really needs to think in a multilinguistical format.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay? Even if you just get her a friend that knows another language, or you learn it yourself, or early on you get her into multiple language classes. Vitally, vitally important that her brain can think in 2 languages.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you both so very much.
You're welcome, and you have a really, really good day.
Thank you. You too.
Kathy, we have some special callers with their children that are coming in, and, we get a unique opportunity to be a part of those lives.
I know. And Aurora, I mean, her energy was just like, wow, knocks me over. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to move on to the next caller. 262, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Danny Sosa. I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Danny from Kenosha, Wisconsin. How did you find out about the show?
Well, when I started researching a few years ago now, I started looking into like the origins of human history and past civilizations, and I found your Galactic History interviews with Lance White, and that just blew my mind.
So what about the material connected to you? What prompted you to want to call in today?
Well, I've been following you for quite a while, and I'm a member on your website and everything, and I've been following your teachings and trying to put them into practice in my day-to-day. And I got a lot of questions, just being like a researcher and trying to find my spiritual path. Like about if I have any connections to any kind of star system, and then some of my history on the Earth.
Okay. So let me just tune in. What year were you born?
1983.
All right, so you are Pleiadian, Arcturian, and Auroran. Auroran is a smoke-type species. We had one on... No. All right, let me reiterate this. You are a being who doesn't identify with a single world as your origin. There are parts of you still spread throughout the multiverse who have been living on a single world for some time in unawareness of other soul shards and believe it is a Pleiadian, Arcturian, or Auroran. That is not actually to the effect. 31 million years ago, while you, separate of everything that I've described before, were a individuated beam of light going through one solar system to another solar system. And during the journey, your beam of light was refracted by a quasar. And when it became refracted, it split you up into thousands of different versions of yourself, past, present, and future. It turns out that this quasar was the center of timeline genocides between all 66 planets in the Galactic Ascension machine. And you happen to just literally synchronistically cross the paths of this quasar while it was being abused in time. And this quasar became essentially a time traveling black hole. It began sucking in time travelers. And when a physical being of light transfers from one solar system to another solar system, they are traveling from one frequency of time to another. And this is where so many of the spiritual rules and spiritual mechanics of our universe became crumbling down. You got pulled right into a rift and found yourself living on Earth, not as one, but 200 separate beings in awareness and unawareness that you had pieces and parts outside of this world. And you began the great struggle to try to reconnect yourself to all the different versions of yourself. And from about 31 million years to around that 13 million year process was your divinity path, where you began the long term recapitulation of all experiences of your soul and got yourself like 70% complete. But the nature of the divinity path is to experience extinction. So you understand what it is to live a full expression and then end to go into the hollow earth. When you finish your divinity path 13 million years ago, you decided that you couldn't shapeshift, you couldn't do any of the things that they were going to change on the world. So you went into extinction. You extricated your frequency of light. And when you did that, that same quasar that was separating your light into like a prismatic frequency basically put you back into a scenario where you were back in your original frequency of time, one version of yourself. Okay? So you're spread throughout the timeline. And when I see this and I see someone calling, you're one of those what I call fanatic searchers. Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Some people can see the word fanatic and can immediately put negativity to it. I don't see that. The fanaticism of it is to reconnect to your soul parts, to learn what spiritual journeying is, to ultimately discover where this quasar is with your own psychic heart, and then using it as a beacon to reassemble all of your versions that were torn apart during a timeline genocide. And this has been your overarching purpose since the moment you arrived here on Earth. And as you began to understand on a bigger scale of what humanity was doing, you forgave the timeline genocide personalities that created it and began to understand on a bigger scale this is what the universal and galactic celestial minds wanted to have occur, because there were micro beings and macro beings abusing the spiritual laws of our universe, creating paradoxes without the responsibility of cleaning up their own messes. So from 13 million years ago all the way up until right around 1,200,000 years ago, you completely stayed in your hollow earth extinction level, but capitulated parts of yourself to go and start cleaning up pollution, specifically timeline pollution from time travelers. Thus, why this lifetime you are so intimately introduced to the conspiracy world, the esoteric world, the secret world of the government. You want to reveal it for everyone because you know that the power is in holding the secret. And a second the secret is no longer held, there's no more power to be held over anyone else.
Wow.
I will even use a metaphor. At one time, you were like a spiritual WikiLeaks personality. The being that was you in extinction was clearly violating the spiritual rules and directly providing information to resistance-free Earth people inside Hollow Earth and on the surface world and off-world. This caused a great deal of tension between you and many of the Agarthan underworld beings in Hollow Earth, until ultimately they said you can no longer be in Hollow Earth. You need to go back to the astral world and live in bodies. You cannot violate the extinction rules anymore. And this is what you did. Right around 1,100,000 years ago, you made the immigration from Hollow Earth to the astral world and began planning lives, thousands and thousands and thousands of lives. And because you had gone into extinction with about 70% of yourself already collected, you made thousands of individuated lifetimes that spread from about 1,100,000 years all the way to about 2,200 BC. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, things are really coming together.
Right. Those individuated parts, those thousands of parts, were witnesses to what the Anunnaki did, the Sumerians did, what Nibiru was, what all of the modern conspiracy tells us. You were actually there and know the difference between what is our fake truth in this world and what was the real truth of what eyes on the ground saw then. So you have this ability to have a bullshit meter when it comes to some of these expressions. I will even venture to say that when you decide to change your frequency to include concepts such as direct channeling of your other versions of yourself, specifically your higher self that went from extinction level to astral world that's still there waiting for you, you will begin to discover that inside you is a vast library of facts that you'll be able to use to create a document, write a book, create a speech, or do something that has an impact into this world you are researching right now.
That's what I'm looking for right now, is a way to help.
I want to bring Kathy in here, and I want her to right away talk about motivation, because I know you're motivated to research, but you're not really motivated to do the work that actually pays dollars in the end.
Yeah.
Hi, Danny.
And that's your evolution right now. You conquer that, you have a golden road paved ahead of you.
Thank you.
Hi, Danny. Can I ask you what you've been doing recently in terms of work?
Well, I've been in kind of like my family's starting a farm, and I've been out there helping them. That's basically what I've been doing for the last couple of years now, is helping them get the land prepared and all the different things up and running.
Mm-hmm. All right. What did you do before that?
Before that, I did a lot of jobs here and there, but I was a therapist for autistic kids for almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm. I'm asking these questions because to me it looks like, whatever you're doing at the moment just seems, in one way it's a little bit rewarding, but it seems a bit mundane for your spirit and your soul. So I guess if you are involved with something that's helping your family get something going, that your motivation for doing that is completely different to what you might do for yourself. So I do understand a bit more about where that energy is at the moment. Yeah. When I look at what's going on for you, I think there are certain things you need to ask yourself. What is it that you're after? Okay, I understand what you're doing now, and you're helping family, etc. But at what point do you think that's going to be enough? What point is it for you that you can say, I know I could do more for you, but I need to live my own life. I need to start going back into the world as myself and do something else. Is this something that you have considered yourself already, or are you not at that point yet where you have come to that realization?
Well, I'm at a point where I'm trying to utilize the experience that I have there working with the land and with family, and trying to connect with it, and trying to just make the best of the situation that I'm in. And I do take a lot from it. I know that in the end, it's not going to produce the effects that I want to have on the world, but I'm trying to find a way now to make it like a stepping stone or something, in my growth.
I understand that. I guess what I'm trying to show you is, you're coming up to it's time for you to branch off. It's time for you to flap those wings. You've done a lot for your family, and you've been invaluable in helping them, but you cannot keep living your life for them. You must also live your life for you. So there has to come a point where you have to look at what's going on and say, I have helped, I've done as much as I can for now. Now it's time for me. It's a very, very difficult concept because you're such a giving person. I mean, Florence Nightingale has nothing on you. But you have to see that within yourself. Sometimes people need to be let go of for a while. And I don't mean ignore them. I mean, it's time for them to do this without you. It's very difficult because it's going to be harder for them. But at the same time, as a family, there's part of them that wants to see you soar, that wants to see you excel. And even though what you're doing for them is great, and, they can never be grateful enough to what you have done, it is time. If you find yourself incapable of doing that just yet, then every day that you wake up, you think about, it's time for me too. Okay? Try and see beyond what's in front of you right now. What you've done is great. You have learned a lot. You will take some of this knowledge with you, definitely, as you move forward. But enough is enough. I want you to think, you would think you're being selfish, and in a sense you are, but if you don't take these steps for yourself, you're not honoring the way they brought you up. And they will cope. They will cope. I know it's hard to think that they will, but they will. And almost think of it like this. If you simplify it down, you're now comfortable in what you're doing with them. You're helping them, yes, but it's now at a point where embarking on something new has become a little bit scary because you've been out of that for a little while, and you don't.
Yeah, that is true. And I do have some pretty, I do have some opportunities or creative things I'm kicking around with a friend of mine that that hopefully will go somewhere. And I think that I need to put my time and focus into that as much as I can.
Is it? You have like 2 to 3 ideas that you're thinking of embarking with your friend?
Yeah, I mean, I have a ton of ideas, but there's a few main ones, that I could do with him. And I think we've created things together in the past, music and art and things, and it's all done really well. And I'm excited it's been years since we've done anything together, and now that he's kind of on the same page with me, I think we can really do something neat.
When you say creative, is it drawing and music, or making something?
Well, that may be part of it. I think he's a writer, and he's got this podcast thing in the works, and he's going to give me a little segment time to do some just talk about the things that I talk about, I guess, and I was going to find interesting ways to deliver it through different characters and voices to help deliver truth and things like that, and just kind of see where that goes. That was, I think, the main thing that's going on right now. But there's also music and songs.
All right. One of the things that I guess I'm pushing you towards is, yes, the project's going on. I like it. There's creativity, but I also want you to consider something that pays, not just iron in the work in 12 months' time, I might see something out of this. I mean, in some ways, when you get to this point in your life, excuse me, you have to consider not just getting the message out there and, healing the earth and helping everyone. You also have to think about the practical side of things like eating, housing, gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me put it in a different way for you. What about you consider something like this? While you're embarking on this new project with a friend, which I think can work, but it will take time to really take off for you, why don't you consider doing things like songwriting for others?
Yeah.
I want you to think about this. You have messages that you want to say. You may not necessarily know all the music you want to put to it. Oh, can you just hold on and we'll come back after this ad?
It sure will.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma, and the amazing Andrew Bartzis. And remember, everyone, you can get a private session with Andrew or myself by contacting Tanoch at galactichistorian.com. That's TENOCH at galactichistorian.com. And we'll be able to get to the bottom of your issues and help you see a better way ahead. And for those of you who don't know, Andrew is offering a free video series called Living the Mystical Life Daily. He shows you some tools and gives you knowledge about how to have mystical experiences in your everyday life. So sign up for free at andrewbartzis.com. Just put your name and email when you get to the page and you'll receive the first video right away. Again, just get it at andrewbartzis.com and enter your name and email to receive the Living the Mystical Life Daily series. And if you'd like to learn more about me, please check out my website, which is kathysperlsofwisdom.com. And that's Kathy with a K. Danny, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Excellent. So we were talking about things that you could do in the interim before your projects with your friend take great fruit. One of the things that I was talking about was the possibility of you doing some songwriting for others. Now, the reason I say this is because I look at your energy and you have lots of words. And the way you put them together is very poetic and beautiful, meaningful. I mean, touch my soul, make me shiver, and your sense of rhythm is great. So even if you weren't sure what kind of song it was going to go into, the words themselves are very powerful. So I'd like you to consider that as something that you can do, because you can do this in your spare time. You can, anytime you want, in the car. Well, maybe not if you're driving, but while you're traveling.
Yeah.
But you just need to do that. Get some songs down and then market them to people, because that is something that you can put in your pocket and it can fuel you to do other things, and it will finance you to take a more backseat in moving forward and starting your projects with your friend and not worrying about the financial side of it.
Okay.
Is this something that you've done before, or only just maybe have a whisper of a thought?
I mean, I've been a musician for a long time. I've played in lots of bands and with varying degrees of success, and so I'm familiar with songwriting and things like that. Marketing myself, but
I'm sorry.
Are you there?
It went on hold for a second. We'll have to go back to you're familiar with songwriting.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So I'm familiar with that. I'm capable of finding my way around and figuring out how to do that.
Okay, good. Your only proactive thing you really have to do is just market the songs to people. But always remember, your words are haunting. They touch people's soul. Even if you don't feel it, other people will feel it. And that is extremely powerful. I love it.
Okay. Thank you.
I got a question for you. Why did you leave the job working with autistic children?
There was a lot of, I loved it. But there's a lot of emotional attachment that comes with that job. And I wasn't always able to not take it home. It weighed on me a lot. And personal things too.
Were you educated to do that?
No, no. I mean, I was in college for psychology at the time, but the way line therapists work is like on the job training. Basically, you have a senior therapist who writes the different programs, and you're the one who executes them with the child.
Uh-huh. And you found yourself stuck in between the business of the job that you had to do and the emotions of having to be a healer, and there was a lot of disjointing there.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't. I never really looked at it as being a healer until you just mentioned that. But
You were.
yeah,
You just were doing it in a format that doesn't apply to your current state. So this is where I want to introduce to you that you are a healer, and music and all that stuff that you've done for recreation and for money and all that other stuff. Still, the foundation of you is being a healer. Whether it's doing it for someone else or a song, it's still a healer.
okay. That's
So,
really great to hear. It's something that I've been wanting to do.
okay. And what would you do as a healer? How have you ever dreamed about it before? You ever see yourself as
I
a
mean,
healer? What would it look like?
I don't know. My hands, I guess. I don't know. It's something like daydreams, not so much dreaming dreams that I can remember, but I get like intense sensations in my hands, like they are tingling, vibrating, electrified, or something a lot. But I don't exactly know what it means, or I don't know.
You know, in all the studying that you've done, you know that the mystical is out there, right?
Oh yeah.
Why haven't you gone out and taken any of those classes? I know we've talked about it on this show many, many times. What
Yeah.
stopped you? What has stopped you?
Financial means mostly. I mean, I have looked into things, shamanism workshops and things like that have called to me, but I just did not have the funds at that time to do that.
Okay. I want you to put on your list of things to do to go and find a healing modality that you can go and learn, even if it's just a weekend class.
Okay.
And put that on your list of something to accomplish before the end of this year.
I will do that. I mean, I have books on Reiki that I just got. I don't know if that's a good place to start. I know that you started with that.
Yep, I started with Reiki. Reiki is one of those things that it's very special to start with. It gives you all the basics, and you can do a lot of other things with it also. It works very well with other modalities also. So taking the class is more important than reading the book. The book is there to inspire
Okay.
you. So when you go back to learn more, so that when you're actually doing a treatment, all of the knowledge is in your knowingness factor and not having to be searched for. Okay, I have to put my hand here. What do I do next? If you innately know in your knowingness, you are in the flow. And that is what all healers or facilitators want present, is their ability to call upon their knowledge, wisdom, insight, intuition, in a divine expression of sharing love that is a facilitation for healing.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Just as a musician, I feel I understand what you're saying there.
You know, you can do the same thing with music. Love songs have been doing that since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Okay. But you could also look at what you've studied and understand that music can convey perspective, knowledge, and history. And you might want to challenge yourself to write some songs that address our false history.
That's exactly what I've been kind of working on lately.
So what would one of them be like? What would a song about false history? What would be the main theme of it?
I don't know, on the spot. I don't know. Well, I guess everything that we think we know is a lie.
Okay.
Everything that we're told.
Is that the chorus?
it could be.
Okay. If that's the chorus, that's the foundation of what all the prose is going to work around, which is you proving that everything we know is a lie.
Yeah. Okay.
That all truths are subjective to the perspective of the person who has belief behind them.
Yeah, power of belief systems,
Okay.
and those which to control it.
Behind belief is the scientific expression of placebo. We create and manifest in our own reality.
Yeah, I've been really, really, I don't know, thinking about the placebo effect and what that truly means.
Yeah.
You know, like,
maybe you want to title
incredible.
your first album Placebo Effect if it's not already taken.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is true and what is false? And there it's a matter of discovering the most potent quotes and nuggets that you've researched and integrate them into the spoken word, the song, the chorus, or something else. It doesn't have to have the limitations of a band. Okay?
Yeah.
It may come in the form of spoken word or poetry or some other expression.
Yeah, I like to draw too, and comics. I always thought that, like, words with a visual, illustration next to it is powerful as well.
There you go. You could do some kind of, graphic novel, The Awakening.
Yeah.
Global infrastructure of distraction keeping us all asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
A layman's view or a dummy's view on awakening. Give them all the pictorial stuff that first graders are supposed to know.
I thought about doing children's books as well for a long time, actually.
Well, you need to reconsider all that. When you start,
I do.
When you start realizing that the time on the farm is done and that your time is now and only you can empower it, then the money is going to flow for you. As I said before, there's a golden brick roadway there for you, but it's going to require you to take the first steps and to feel the gold on your feet. Quite literally.
Yeah.
Okay? You are going to have to be the one that has to manifest enough personal gumption to get out of the scenario that you're in with the greatest of intentions, so that those greatest of intentions roll over to deep inspiration, and that deep inspiration becomes manifest with that creative concepts you came into being with, so that you can have something that shows you the invaluable nature of creativity, that they cannot value your works. And when one connects to the deepest parts of their interconnected creativity, they make masterful works that affect thousands or millions of people that listen to them or read them or see them as art.
Yep. Okay, I feel you.
Alrighty, brother. We're going to move on to the next caller. You definitely got a big road ahead of you.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Every morning you wake up, tell yourself you're a healer.
I will do that every day from now on.
Good.
Thank you so much.
That is number one. Think of yourself.
That's right. You are number one.
Yes.
Okay, I can do that.
Take it easy. Kathy, we get those special callers again and again and again.
I know. We're lucky like that.
So we're going to move on to our next caller. Our next caller is Andre. Is this the Andre from Australia?
It is, mate. How you doing?
Andre, how are you doing?
Yeah, mate. Thanks for letting me through and finding you again. And the two of you holding on for over 6 months now. I mean, how have you guys been going with your show?
It's been 9 months now, actually.
9 months, yeah.
Yeah, going on 10.
It's been fun.
We've given birth already.
Yeah. No, but
to
it's
a new show.
You guys are anchoring it, to do it week in, week out. I know there's been a lot going on, so I'm grateful for that, because the volume out there of info and stuff is pretty phenomenal, and I've still got a lot of shows to go through, so I'm grateful for that, guys.
And that's the challenge of a 2-hour format. We're asking people now to listen to 16 hours of material a month. And for some people, that cuts into their family time, it cuts into whatever, and they chew away at it at their own pace. When Kathy and I decided that we wanted to do a show, we know we were going to be doing 8 hours a month. And then, 9 months later, we gave birth to another one, which is another 8 hours a month. But it has also expanded our own audience, the way we do presentations, because the other show is allowing us to take what we've distilled from all these reading shows and give it all as raw advice, raw tools, raw tips, raw techniques.
Yeah. Like for me personally, I was in that place for that last color. I felt it, and a big thing for me was actually accepting and owning my power. And like say you guys are sort of there to offer the information, but say we've individually got to take the steps, because when we do, we get the benefit from it. So
that's right, even if it's a baby step.
Yeah, you get it because you can look back in hindsight and realize what you did, and then you build on that. So
well, that's living and being multidimensional. When we allow our living life to have multidimensional concepts, an innate part of it, we manifest specialty skills. You've had your specialty skills, throughout your lifetime with music and DJing and a lot of the other stuff we've talked about. But innately, there's even more into you that you haven't even uncovered yet.
Well, that's partly why I'm here, I guess, mate. So
you're like, I think I've turned over every rock, and I'm not finding any more rocks.
Literally.
Exactly. So what has it that has brought yourself to a halt of turning over the rocks that you've all turned over? Was it a repetition of concept, or was it I'm tired of doing the same thing? What was the emotional thing that slowed down the journey?
I tend to be really thorough, and I exhaust like topics thoroughly. Mm-hmm. So when you go down a path, you sort of don't feel like you're getting anywhere. So it's the sort of assessing where you are to reassess a different pathway.
Mm-hmm. So when you go back and do your assessment, you realize you're one part you're treading water, another part you're taking baby steps, and these other parts aren't really moving at all.
Yeah, or maybe I've just gone too fast and missed stuff as well, So,
that too.
Yeah, it just depends on the moment and stuff. But I like to sort of like one thing that's really pushed me forward is actually making mistakes. Mm-hmm. And a mistake is like, say, society sees a mistake as a mistake, but for me, it's just more data. So it's like, and from a perception point of view, when you're dealing with this reality, it's like if you make a mistake, it's like, nah, you just got a potential that you haven't realized. So sometimes making mistakes in this reality is just revealing a potential that you didn't realize you had. So
or it's a potential you realized you had, but you never actualized it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people in the awakening community are stuck at, is that actualization. There are a set of choices that are subtly within our field that determine if we are going to trust ourselves enough to use the power of our own belief to empower a process to be followed through and done, with the moments of hindsight that show us our moments of growth from all the different choice points it took us to get to where we were to make something actualized in our environment.
Yeah. A big one for me was self-worth as well. I mean,
self-worth, self-doubt, all of those things are meant to do what? Keep you giving away power.
Yeah, on a subtle level, that's like I sort of see us, we're all born into this reality and we're playing passengers, and those sort of things are fabrics of the reality, and you've got to go through things to maybe short circuit them and trigger the change and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So have you been able to do any personal ceremonies for yourself? Just you, no one else.
Yeah. I did one May 21st. Is that a good one? You're across me pretty well, but I did one the full moon. Yeah.
you should consider doing it every full moon.
Okay.
Or start paying attention to the space weather and look for specific times where you know there are going to be solar flares.
Yeah, I feel them and stuff. So I mean, I had a question. I've got a lot of questions and stuff. I know we've got a bit of time.
Yeah, go ahead with your questions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing I was going to actually ask you is, there's a 6 weeks or 2 months out to your conference, and there's a lot of people around the world that are probably going to be listening to this that are probably going or they're not aware they're going and stuff. Do you have any advice for those people to, say, prepare themselves physically now, so when they get there, they'll be ready to go?
If you're going to make the journey, it's already complete.
Yeah, I know that.
If you believe you need to do anything else to make the journey complete, then there's an issue of self-doubt. Okay. And so for all those people that want to go to the event, every effort has been made for you, for people to go. It was a matter of, can you manifest in your own reality the spirit power it takes to create a journey that is going to be a culmination in a learning event? Is my seminar any different than anyone else's seminar? Any more powerful or less powerful, even if it was a Christian seminar?
Yeah.
The answer is, it's in each person's individual belief. Those that are meant to be for this first event in 3 years will be there. But it's still the journey there. And a lot of people are afraid of the journey because it means they will have to go out of their static reality and into a dynamic reality where they may not have programs or energy concepts that are ready to deal with that form of change. All right, Andre, hold on. We'll come back after the music.
All right.
And welcome back, everyone. We are continuing our conversation with Andre. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Is it clear now?
Yep. That was me being dumb before. I was rubbing my beard as I was talking to you, covering up my mic.
You crack me up.
I was in an intellectual moment.
I've been in a inner child moment for the last few weeks. So yeah, I've been messing around a bit. So
you were talking about coming to the event and what people can do.
Yeah.
On a more individuated level, if somebody believes they haven't done something to earn something, you got to go back to that self-worth process. Are you worthy enough to go to the event without having have done that stuff? Or is there something you're subtly holding over your own self in judgment about? A lot of people that are waiting to the end are just wait to the end. It's an impulse buy. Okay? That's the global world of distraction. That's just how that infrastructure works. If we judge ourselves that we're worthy for something 5 months ahead of time, what are we telling ourselves?
That we're worthy?
Exactly. 5 months ahead of time, as opposed to 1 month ahead of time.
I'm worthy. I'm going.
Is one more powerful than the other? The answer is no. Each is a moment in which we made a set of choices that we gave value to what the event brings in potential to us, where we gave value to our own individuated journey, and that though our journey may need some tweaks and little bits in here and there as changes, that doesn't make our journey less valuable to not go. So much of the reasons for people coming to the event are going to be self-worth. And then there'll be those others who have that nagging question they want answered. Or the ones that we hear all the time that say, I've had a dream with you, Andrew. How many callers have you heard that with, Kathy?
Oh, a lot.
A lot.
Couldn't even count, yeah.
That many. So those are other things that are triggers for people to come to anybody else's event. You know, people dream about other people other than me All the presenters out there are on stage, the physical stage and the dream world stage, whether they know it or not. You oftentimes hear me talking about being in a stadium of people with other people in the center of the stadium talking to tens of thousands of people simultaneously, teaching, talking, and yet individually tutoring every single person simultaneously. And then there are times that I meet a group of people in a dream place. Just the other day, I was catching up on an old video game I used to play called StarCraft. And it was one of the original games that you can play on local area networks. It was the original networking game. And it turns out 20 years later, there's a professional league for this. And I happened to watch a couple videos where they had a professional announcer and the whole 9 yards. And later that night, I met the guy in a dream world.
That's really, really synchronicity.
Synchronicities. Okay. Synchronicities are the other things that drive people. Are they going to come to an event? Is there a group of synchronicities that are right in front of you that says you have to pull out the card and book the tickets and do this right now? Or are we just not seeing them around us? The room could hold 700 people. We scaled it for that.
My feeling, mate, was it's reunion time. So yeah, like I as soon as you mentioned that, I was actually setting up for a mission, and the mission wasn't really fitting, but I was prepared physically for it. It took me a year to sort of get my body right and stuff, and it was just like I was in a bit of a mess. I was like, man, it's just not happening. It's not happening. All right, I'll just allow it and stuff. And then all of a sudden you mentioned conference, and I was like, bingo. And I was preparing for this like deadline that I wasn't going to conform to, and then all of a sudden I had extra months, and it was like, cool, I can sort of fit it in now. You know what I mean? So yeah.
The challenge of planning an event with a no-time person is choosing a date and time.
Yeah. But I think you got it perfect. I think you got it perfect. It just feels excellent, mate. Like you're even going to another level and all that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Well, there's an evolution. For those that have been around since the beginning, you've heard the varieties of evolution. Or when I was bored of talking about one subject or another, I got to tell you something. I could really care less about reporting on the political news, the conspiracy news right now, because I'm now labeling it all as part of that global infrastructure of distraction. We have come to the point where we can no longer play the game the way the system wants to play the game. We must create our own rules, eliminate ourselves from the exchanging of energy, find that mystical within us, and yet still live within the system that's going to continue to try to engage us in the infrastructure of distraction that it has, whether it's Amazon or this or whatever it is that's going to distract you from giving yourself self-valued and self-worthy times of earning your self-trust through healing yourself, seeking out others to heal yourself, or teachers that can give you wisdom so that you can pass it on to your own environment. I became innately aware of this when I was 9 at a baseball game, that inevitably I would be presenting at a higher level, and I was the one that had to learn how to do it. Just because you're shown the future doesn't mean you're going to follow through with it.
Yeah, the whole potential thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been feeling that out. Yeah.
Yeah. We actualize our potentials. So the whole expression of a no-time person giving a date and time, I actualized a date. That's all that I did. In which everything that's dreaming with me must take as a solid point in reality. What is a solid point in reality? It's that floating 0-point frequency of all energy. In the artificial intelligence revocation, it is making a place of all space-time codes. It's like having the first spiritual telephone book.
Think of how our world changed when telephones came around. They had to create books for them. You had to get numbers for them. You had to teach people how to use it. That's what we're coming to now. A whole new phone book.
It's exciting.
If you could call upon a oracle from another world, if you had a 1-900, your Pleiadian oracle phone number, would you call it? If it was available?
Yeah. Darling now.
Okay. If you had those numbers available, an infinite amount of numbers of people in an infinite perspective, would you make 10 calls a day? Knowing that person's not going to diss you and not take your phone call. Because we're multidimensional beings. There's always a part to receive us. As long as we don't come in polarity. With charge. With intention behind us to limit expression. People are coming together into an event that's going to take the limits off of expression. Take the limits off of even our language. I'm going to challenge the race amnesia at the highest levels. And for all those that are going to be there live for it, you're going to get to feel it. And for those that'll be watching it in video afterwards, you'll feel it too, but you won't have that live experience. The whole point of doing a live event manifested in time was to make it a ritual ceremony of expression of creativity, bringing all the other people that have been connected to the expressive creativity of the last many years that have wanted to come and be a part of it. I've only done a handful of events, and I turn events down left and right. And it's not because I don't believe in the individual people that are running events. It's just not my time then. There were a variety of people that needed their time to say their point of view. And you could even go to the original Galactic history. In some areas, it was so complex, but simple. And there's still people today coming to it and calling it the seminal work of the next level. There's no one else out doing what I do. There's no one else doing readings the way that I do. There's no one else doing the volume and size in which I do, because the very first thing that I put out was to a challenge of all presenters that the race amnesia has a line at 2,600 years. Anything that you think happened beyond 2,600 years is a complete and total fallacy. You will have in your knowingness more ability to know truth than what has been presented in our history books that have only been written by the conquerors and reinterpreted each generation by its fanatics. That's the harshness of our world. And we can take that harshness away by giving ourselves the time to meditate, to observe our DNA helix inside our heart space, and know that's what created us. That's the spiritual technology of incarnation, of birth, of life itself. Consciousness began as a stream of light that entered a spark of an egg and a sperm that came together. And in that unique, infinite moment of a spark, consciousness became a localized event instead of a non-localized, etherical, everywhere, infinite source. And this event is giving birth to a new form of creation, a new form of connectivity, so that everyone can take that home in their own lesson and spread it to the rest of the world. I haven't had one of those eerie silences in a while.
I was gonna butt in and say, hey mate, speaking of race amnesia, do you want to go galactic on me now?
Sure, I'll go galactic on you now.
Yeah. I'll just preface this as saying, like, I've actually known Andrew for a long time and I've actually avoided this, but last November, and I mentioned that year of prep, I did a enormous amount of healing, the revocations and all sorts of stuff, and colonics and that, and it sort of prepped me for around November, where I did a healing with my shaman. And first of all, I went with an intent to call back my soul shards, and he actually uses sacred living Young Living Oils, and he actually used gathering in that healing. And I had a Chinese martial artist, like past life bleed through that came back, and I picked up the injury from that death. But then the next healing later on, he actually pressed me in my gut, and he told me to smile at myself, and I saw my soul, and that was an enormous thing for me, because it felt like a completion of calling back all my shards, and I saw myself on the soul level, and then it was like the avoidance with not seeking this out from you, Andrew, was like there was purpose, because I had to do it myself. Like,
correct.
Yeah,
You're right. There was an attitude and an affinity for wanting to do it yourself.
Okay? Yeah, develop those muscles. You know what I mean.
I'm going to start with some of your galactic history, because your theme, you've got two themes. The you get to the apex of your creation and somebody steals it from you or kills you, and then you get to the apex of your creation and you defeat those that are trying to kill you, but the message is unheard because there isn't an infrastructure to spread it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the two themes your soul's going back and forth with. So I think one of the more important lifetimes for you to actually truly pay attention to is when you lived on the Pleiadian homeworld of Alcyon, where you were in an expression. You ever heard of the three tenors?
Yeah.
So the three male Pavarotti singers, et cetera, you were an equivalent of that on their world, but not in entertainment form. You were able to sing as the tenor in a voice harmony with the actual conscious mind of the planet. So you could be chorus to the planet or lead singer to the planet. And there were groups of 3 to 25 that would come together in star patterns on various specialty energy points around the planet, and they would begin to sing. Well, then the planet would then share your song with all other high-frequency beings who are looking to share in a ritual of global chorus, a way to excite global dream time, to bring all species on the surface of the world in a higher form of awareness, no matter what they're doing as they're filling out their daily job, to bring the highness of multidimensional awareness through the power of song, psychic song, telepathic song. You gained in such notoriety and specialty for what you did until you began singing with not one planet, but several dozen planets at a time. To them, you were the greatest superstar of a baritone that was out there. To the highest regards, where there are even monuments on the world to you that created an entire infrastructure for spiritual people to let go of their physical worlds and take the journey on the celestial song path. How's that resonate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling it through my body, but it makes sense in this life, because a lot of people, they hear my voice, they don't know what it is, and they get triggered by it. So whether it's just in the recording and stuff like that. So I've had a chat with you and stuff.
It's because they've heard your voice in other
soul
lifetimes.
level, yeah.
And some of them weren't Pleiadians. You know, your music was traded amongst worlds.
So that's why I'm into DJing as well.
Well,
for the music,
that's the scale. I mean, you're not working with celestial minds and billions of beings simultaneously. You're just working with one dance floor.
But I mean, the interest in music, you know, and what it does.
The interest in music is it because it's the exchange of energy.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a fundamental exchange of energy that, you know, within your own chords, you can create all of the rules that can prevent energy thievery around your songs. That you can create make it a consciousness, a collective consciousness creation, as well as a consciousness creation that can stand the legacy of time. That's why you chose music as the fetus, because you knew you could create the legacy. And you came in this lifetime to create a legacy that would be valued, that would be seen and not be stolen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are other things in your galactic history very similar to this galactic baritone or a Pleiadian baritone, except you're not a physical being. You're much older. You're even before the expression of when the Pleiadians and Arcturians, so you would have been around 158 million years ago. So really stretch your mind to go that far back into your history and realize that you lived as a being of energy who would go between nebula to nebula to nebula. And each nebula has its own background chorus and music of the sentient being that holds space in the nebula to make the form of the nebula, and then all the things that live inside it. And some of these beings are energy, and other of them are like giant space whales that are physical form that may be out of a variety of materials, but they're still a biological skin suit in space. And this is some of your centricity of originally coming to being, was functioning in the vast nebulas that were creating the most primal forms of life in the most intricate forms of skin suits that could travel galaxies or universes. There were certain types of nebulas that were nursing areas for special skin suits, similar to like a shark or a whale that could go through space, but they could travel in between universes. And you were a nurturer of those skin suits and would often encourage physical beings who were traveling in light ships inside your nebula to make companionship with these inter-universal beings in the nebula, facilitating a communication so micro beings can be transported via this process from one universe to another, one galaxy to another, at whatever scale that was needed to be done.
Fascinating. So the whole like tuning into Earth thing, when did that all start?
You're too old to not realize you were part of the creating of it.
I have been told that.
Okay. Yeah. So when did you first say, I'm going to put my name on this approval of the plan? Because you were part of the creating of the plan too.
Yeah. You've mentioned created beings recently in some shows.
So not founder beings. No. I'm talking like the actual creation of the Galactic Ascension machine, the creation of the original creation of Earth before the Galactic Ascension machine was created, when Earth was just a planet out there compared to a bunch of other planets that was in non-free willed universe. Before our universe became free willed, you were already here, fully established, and a part of the paradigm that was going to create a seventh density galactic seed planet, because you knew full well that there was a massive immigration of people that were going to come to this universe after it became free willed, and you wanted to create a inter-universal infrastructure of how to get life to these new places.
Yeah, and I mean, I've felt that, and that's why I'm here in this life, aware with all the stuff. I'm in the game, so to speak.
You're here because Earth becomes the focus point for that original dream to actually come to fruition. Earth can create 200 womb chakras. It can create its own portals and gateways greater than 1,000 suns combined. Most suns can only connect to a few thousand different places. One portal on Earth can connect to every place in the universe, even the places not connected, not created yet. That's the uniqueness of Earth. Every individual being can't have an infinite space living on this world. Imagine 7,300,000,000 human beings, each with their own infinite space.
A lot of potential.
A lot of potential. And when everything has its own infinite space, the levels of creation that we are challenged with is why you came here to Earth. why you're still here. You got soul shards all spread throughout the universe, as do many others. But it is this Andre of this lifetime, that this I am presence, that is going to earn the victory passage feather that says, I survived the galactic ascension machine and I came out the other side an 8-color experiencing being. No other version of Andre is going to have that badge of honor.
Yeah.
That's
and
why
you talk. Yeah, you talk about the 8th color and the soul thing that I mentioned that I saw myself as a golden child.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an expression of the 8th color relative to me or generally? Or?
No. That is a previous incarnated version of you who came in as the golden child when we were a 6-color experiencing world where the 7th color was stolen from us. And there was a large variety of external beings who forced their way inside here and brought the 7th color back.
Fascinating.
I haven't actually talked about that because Earth started as a 7th density world and then reduced to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are 7-color experiencing beings in a 3rd density world. Are those 4 colors missing? Or do we actually have to be the ones that manifest our light here for the other 4 colors to exist? That was one of the fundamental reality programs that they try to change here, was to take the prism out of the 3rd eye so that it couldn't create all 7 colors.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
All right, everybody.